seem to choose the games they just played. Others say pandemic's number one. Will it ever change? Dice Tower, people's choice, top 100 games.
Hey folks, Tom Vasel here once again from the beautiful Florida Keys, talking about the top 100 games of all time, according to you, or at least 2,000 of you. And is this an important thing to do? You know, why do we do this every year? Well, partially because it's fun, and partially because people like lists. But in reality, I think this is an important list to look at. It takes a look at the current pulse of what people are playing. See, you may have loved the game in 1988, but if you're not playing it right now, then you're probably not going to rank it highly here. And so sometimes the different rating systems that exist around the internet, well, people rate things on a static basis. Like I played this game and I rank it a 10, but I never play it again. Well, that 10 still sits there. But this list is telling you this is what people are playing now. And for new gamers who come in a hobby, I think this top 100 list is very important for that reason. It's also less critical, right? There's a lot of people who are like, well, you know, this Settlers of Catan would never make my list. Yeah, but I don't really care about what the critics think. I want to know what people like. And that's what this list tells you. So here we go, starting with a very popular people's game at number 90. This has been on the list for 3 years, and that is Coup. The designer of Coup, I was just talking to him because he's designed another game recently. And I remember when he first emailed me about Coup, I was looking at the emails we had, and he just said, I got this little independent game. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. I played it. I said, this is pretty fun. It's this light little game. And then it got picked up by Indies, Boards, and Cards, and it has exploded. Coup is a small, unassuming game, yet has sold more than most of these big games that everybody loves. It is a game that simply, are you lying to me? Are you bluffing or not? It's fast, it's simple, really fun game. Number 90. Number 89. This is my number 2 game, guys. What's going on? In fact, this one, when we started out the list 5 years ago, was number 29. And it has steadily dropped. In fact, it was 34 last year. I'm not sure what's dropped so much, just that people aren't playing anymore. Okay, it's Summoner Wars. Summoner Wars is a great 2-player game. I think, though, with these 2-player games, and I mean, it's still on the list, right? So being on the list is an honor, blah, blah, blah. But I think with these 2-player back-forth tactical games, if they're not constantly being fed new stuff, some people lose interest. Now, I think Summoner Wars is great as is. They have completed it this year. They finished the second Summoners. We don't need any more Summoner Wars stuff because the stuff we have can last you for decades. And it's going to last me for decades because I'm not going to get rid of it. But I can see how it might be dropping on the People's Choice list because it might not just be in the front of people's minds. Number 88 is The Alchemists. This is the 3rd year it's been on the list. It came in pretty strong at 25. But I think this is probably where it's going to be steady for a while. The Alchemist is a fairly heavy Euro game that uses your smartphone and uses deduction as you're figuring out what potions mean. I think it might be higher on the list if the game was a little easier for people to play. As it is, there's a pretty steep learning curve to jumping into the game. But the concept of like using your phone to take 2 ingredients, then it tells you what that combination is, that is a fantastically cool idea. And so, got to give them credit for that. Number 87, 3rd year on the list, is One Night Ultimate Werewolf from Bezier Games. It's not the first Bezier game you'll see on the list. Now, this is actually a remaking of a Japanese game. It was just called One Night Werewolf. And this one, I still remember the first time I heard about it. I thought, who is going to want to play a werewolf game that's just one night? Well, it goes to show how wrong I am, especially when you add in an app. This is one of those games where I think the app really helps make this game just flow so smoothly. It's fast, it's easy, it makes people laugh. It's also been redone now, I think, 3 times. We got One Night Ultimate Vampire, there's One Night Ultimate Alien is coming, there's One Night Resistance, but it's fun, I think, even in all its itinerations. Number 86, 2nd year on the list, is Sushi Go. Now, the release of Sushi Go Party probably helped boost this one up, but Sushi Go, when it first came out, this is another one of those small games from Philip Walking Harding, and I remember when he first sent it to me, I was like, oh, this is a pretty neat little drafting game, and then Gamewright picked it up and it exploded. A really cheap price point for an easy game. People like drafting. Designers, publishers, are you hearing me? People like drafting. Start making more fun games about drafting because this game is only drafting, and yet it does really well. All right, where are we now? We're at number 85, a new one to the list. This is only the 2nd new one in the top 100. And that is Above and Below by Ryan Lockett and Red Raven Games. I'm not sure if any of his other games have made the list or not. Ryan Lockett is an excellent designer and makes a lot of great games. I don't know that Above and Below is my favorite. Well, I know it's not my favorite of his thing, but it's one that really struck a chord with people, partially because of the storytelling aspect to it. See, telling a story is a big deal. People love these story games that have depth and theme. And I know some people get on my case when I say we need games with more theme. But the fact is, people like theme. And Above and Below had theme. I think that the mechanisms of Above and Below were okay. But the story was strong, and that's probably why it's number 85. Number 84, which dropped down from number 10 only 4 years ago, is Android Netrunner. And it's probably for the same reason that it fell off my top 100, is because it's hard for new players to get into Netrunner. Everyone started, they were on the same foot, but there is such a huge metagame and so much, it's very overwhelming for new people to get into. Still a great game, one of the best asymmetrical two-player games ever designed. Many people say it's superior to Magic, same designer, Richard Garfield, but I just think that I don't think it's gonna be on the list next year. I think it's gonna still sell really well next year. I just think it's harder and harder for new people to get into it. Number 83, been on the list all 6 years, and that's Alien Frontiers, the game that brought in Kickstarter. This is actually on my list at number 72. Alien Frontiers, a dice placement game. It was one of the first games that was like, hey guys, you know what? We can make good, fun space games that are not just rolling dice and smashing stuff, but good, solid Euro games. It brought that to the forefront. It's still doing really well for the publishers. That is Alien Frontiers. Number 82. This is the 4th year this one's been on the list, and that's Libertalia. Libertalia, I call this the Citadel's killer because it's very similar to Citadel's. A pirate ship. This one is also on my top 100. But Libertalia, each player is playing pirates. You start with the same pirates, and as time goes by, you might have different pirates. It scales really well, has a cool pirate theme, really strong artwork, but it's simply just fun for people to play. And last one for today's list. This is the 3rd year it's been in the top 100, and that's Keyflower. In fact, last year it was 98. This year moved up to 81. This is probably, at this point, Richard Breese's most well-regarded game. And that's saying something, because the guy has come out with Reef Encounter, and Cathedral, and Kingdom, and Aladdin's Dragon. He's just done some really amazing games. But this one, I know it has auctions that have different currencies. I mean, they're meeples, but it's basically auctions with different currencies, and people really liking it. I'm curious to see, he's starting to theme these. They just said Key to the London, that just came out at Essen. That's kind of a themed version of this. We'll see if that one lands on the charts next year, or if people like the basic one better. Hey, we are now 20% done with the list. Yeah! All right, well, thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time. Until then, I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been The Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching. To see the rest of the top 100 lists, check out our website at dicetower.com, where you can also find The Dice Tower, the premier podcast about board games. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching
Dice Tower, People's Choice Top 100 Games.